Oh, look at this moody lighting. Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you lot are all doing well. Really do hope that. Let's talk about Chelsea. Let's talk about Timo Werner, Thomas Tuchel, and some changes within the squad personnel that could see Chelsea rise up into the ascendancy of Premier League champions. Of course, Chelsea have just beaten Southampton 3-1 in the Premier League before the international break, overcoming some controversy with VAR. It always happens, of course, but there were some really notable performances from new personnel and perhaps players in new positions, as well as some sensational Timo Werner work and some sensational Timo Werner statistics, with him coming out talking about his Chelsea career thus far. Strap yourselves in, friends, get comfortable, do consider dropping a like on the video if you want to help me out, and of course, you are always welcome to subscribe if you're new around here, and if you choose to do that, please do hit the bell and notifications icon. Thank you. Alright then, let's get into it. So to start off, we will be talking about Timo Werner. That's right, Timmy Werner. What an interesting footballer at Chelsea. Has been so important at times, always works really hard, which has made him a fan favourite. Of course, he has his own Chelsea song, and the fans absolutely ruddy love Timo Werner. And why wouldn't you? A player that always gives his all and just keeps trying and presses the opposition and wins penalties, scores goals, assists goals, but really notably has goals disallowed. Possibly the unluckiest striker in the world, Timo Werner. He has had a whopping 16 goals disallowed. That is an incredible amount of disallowed goals. Yes, indeed, he had another one against Southampton at home in the 3-1 win, where of course he scored. His goal that was disallowed personifies his Chelsea career so far. In fact, in the post-match interview, Timo Werner said himself that first disallowed goal is pretty much the story of my Chelsea career so far. Always tries for the team, always works hard, but almost always is cutting a really frustrated figure, Timo Werner. It wasn't just that disallowed goal against Southampton either. He scored what should have been a great goal, but he summoned a world-class save out of McCarthy in the Southampton goal, which is just really unlucky that he chooses that moment to pull out that save. Timo Werner is certainly unlucky, but he works hard. And I want to talk about why he's important. Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea and the success of his ethos of football is largely down to high turnovers from the ball. He likes to press and counter-press. Of course, when Chelsea have to defend, they can defend very well indeed with world-class players. And we're going to speak about a few players in just a moment. But the functionality of the midfield and certainly the front players need to press. And no one presses quite like Timo Werner as a forward. Couple him with Mason Mount behind Romelu Lukaku, and you're probably in business. Yes, it hasn't worked when Chelsea played a 3-5-2 formation with Thomas Tuchel, for example, against Manchester City at home in the Premier League, where they got battered, even though they only lost 1-0. But in a 3-4-2-1 where there's 3 forwards, he works really well pressing with the other forwards. And it's not just that, look at the Champions League final. He of course made that decoy run to allow Kai Havertz to go on and score, which would see Chelsea become champions of Europe. Now, understandably, there's been a lot of links of Timo Werner away to Dortmund or Bayern Munich. Borussia Dortmund because probably they'll need a long-term successor for Erling Haaland, and they know for a fact Timo Werner can score a lot of goals in the Bundesliga. And of course, Timo Werner nearly went to Bayern Munich, and not only that, his old coach that made him score a lot of goals, or certainly got him scoring a lot of goals, is now the manager of Bayern Munich in Julian Nagelsmann. So you can understand the strong links and maybe even a temptation from Timo Werner himself to go next summer, or who knows if things got even worse and he was continuing to be sidelined, maybe even in January. But I, and I'm sure now many Chelsea fans, do not want this to happen and want him to stay. Not only is a fan favourite because he works hard, functionally, he's really important in this Chelsea team, And if maybe he gets a little bit more luck and less disallowed goals, he can crank up that goal scoring tally and we can be in business. Right, in the next part of the video, we're going to be talking about Thomas Tuchel's changes and how Chelsea can develop and evolve. Of course, Tuchel did make changes in the win against Southampton, bringing RLC Ruben Loftus-Cheek into the midfield, moving Callum Hudson-Odoi over to left wing, and starting Trevor Chalobah. He even brought on Ross Barkley over the likes of Kai Havertz and Hakim Ziyech. And Ross Barkley couldn't find a club in the summer. It's interesting where you find answers when you start looking as a coach. So let's talk about a few of these players, starting with Trevor Chalobah, who of course scored the opener against the Saints. Not only is he seemingly a goal threat, 2 goals already this season, but of course he's defensively resolute, in fact immaculate, being hailed by pundits, analysts and fans alike. Everyone realises how good Trevor Chalobah is. Yet another world-class talent from the Chelsea Academy that is actually being integrated into the Chelsea first team, like many others of recent years. But Trevor Chalobah is a ball carrier as well. He's ice cold on the ball. And if you look at how Chelsea shifted in this game and what Thomas Tuchel's been talking about, ball carriers and dribblers to escape the press, this is starting to make a lot more sense. So let's move on to the next player and talk about Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Now, if you're a fan of Football Therapy and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you will know I am always waxing lyrical about RLC Loftus-Cheek. I really love him. I always have. Ever since he had that absolutely explosive season under Sarri, I've wanted him to come good. And it looks like maybe that's now. Tuchel spoke about starting him next to Kovacic, both ball carriers and dribblers, and when Chelsea get pressed high, that seems to be their Achilles heel at the moment. So rather than having perhaps a Jorginho there, you can have someone that isn't looking to pass the ball, so the press almost doesn't work. You just dribble past them, and you can have that with the likes of Chalobah at the back. You can have that in the midfield with the likes of Mateo Kovacic, and indeed a big, explosive, strong, technical dribbler like Ruben Loftus-Cheek. It makes a lot of sense, and he's not just a ball carrier, he's good at defending, he can press, and he's a goal threat. So very pleased, personally, to see Ruben Loftus-Cheek given a chance. Next up, Callum Hudson-Odoi. Tuchel clearly realising the technical quality and ability of Callum Hudson-Odoi, and perhaps even his explosive pace, as soon as he arrived at Chelsea, playing him as a right wing back, but always knowing that his natural and preferred position is of course the left wing. He does his best work on that side, dribbling up to the byline, cutting in on his right foot and looking to combine. Of course he can switch with the other wide winger or inside number 10 and putting crosses with his right boot. I'm not saying he's been awful at right wing back, but if Tuchel wants to use his qualities and utilise them in this team, when there's misfiring players in the shape of currently Kai Havertz and Hakim Ziyech, then he was right to give him his chance against Southampton, and for a while, certainly in their first half, he looked absolutely immaculate. Callum Hudson-Odoi should be given more chances in the front three, and I think he will do, and it's yet another quality option for the Blues. Next up, Ross Barkley. Now this is a pretty darn funny situation. Now no disrespect to Ross Barkley, he was an England international, he was this like wonder kid for a long time. Incidentally, linking up with of course none other than Romelu Lukaku in his Everton days, and for a while they looked like they had a superb relationship. It's funny how that link up's come back. But we were looking to get rid of Ross Barkley, or at least loan him, and no one came in for him. Maybe because they couldn't afford his wages, his number was taken. Mateo Kovacic, of course, now wearing the number 8, and Ross Barkley is wearing the number 18, of course, vacated by the departing Olivier Giroud. But he's trained well in training, and Tuchel's realised that. He came on against Juventus, played a wonderful pass to Lukaku, of course that link up again, and he was utilised again off the bench in front of the likes of Kai Havertz and Hakim Ziyech, and he said look, he's played that ball to Lukaku, he deserved the chance to come off the bench again, and he played really well. He got that sort of pre-assist in the Southampton game so Chelsea could take the lead. Superb from Ross Barkley. I think he's going to be considered more and more, and there's a similar theme coming here because he is kind of another ball carrier. It's almost like Thomas Tuchel's new ethos is going to be less tiki-taka and more carrying the ball, players taking on players, because they're being pressed so much. Anyway, in short, Timo Werner, the unluckiest striker in the world. Maybe his luck's going to start coming in though. A vital player for Chelsea regardless, and I hope we keep him and he stays happy at Chelsea. And success stories like Loftus-Cheek, Trevor Chalobah, and Ross Barkley coming back into the fold, which is just incredible really. Thomas Tuchel taking different approaches, lots to think about over the international break, and thinking about how he can approach that Brentford game. Let me know what you guys think, comment down below, and if you enjoy my content talking about the Chelsea, please do drop a like, it means a lot, and you're always welcome to subscribe. That's it from me guys, enjoy the football, and I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me baby.